because Russia has choked off supplies of cheap natural gas that the continent has depended on for years. Now, this has pushed European governments into a depression and desperation situation. They are scrambling for new supplies and ways to blunt the impact. European officials call it an energy blackmail. They are aimed at pressuring and dividing the European Union, especially as it supports Ukraine against Russia's invasion. So the first question is, did Russia cut off gas to Europe? Yes. There's a halt in the Nord Stream 1 pipeline supply. This means Russian gas shipments have fallen 89% from a year ago. Russia used to supply 40% of Europe's natural gas to Germany. The suppliers were even more. Now they are rushing to replace this supply. So what are Europe's options? Europe has lined up all the alternative gas supplies it could. There are shipments of liquefied natural gas, or LNG, that come by ship from the United States. Secondly, there is more pipeline gas from Norway and Azerbaijan. Germany is keeping coal plants in operation, especially the ones that it was going to shutter to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The other issue at stake is European solidarity. There is will to stick together during the crisis, but dividing Europe was one of Putin's main goals. Other nations like Turkey believe Europe is reaping what it sowed.
Tabii Avrupa aslında ektiğini biçiyor. Tabii Sayın Putin'e karşı Avrupa'nın tutumu, yaptırım uygulamaları ister istemez tabii Putin'i de onlara karşı ve siz böyle yapıyorsanız ben de böyle yaparım noktasına getirmiştir. Ve Putin de kendisi elindeki bütün imkanlarını ve silahlarını kullanmaktadır. Bunların da en önemlisi doğalgazdır.
So far, the bloc's unity is holding. EU energy ministers and heads of state are set to meet in Brussels on September 9th. The plan is to further reinforce the bloc's solidarity through coordinated energy policies and action plans. But in countries, protests have already broken out against energy bills. A few dozen protesters burned gas and electricity bills in Naples city center.
I media che tendono a diffondere notizie false come il PIL che è aumentato, la disoccupazione è scesa, ma non è vero sti cose, cioè, non esiste proprio. Loro pensano soltanto agli affari, alla guerra, al business, ma stanno preparando un'altra pandemia, un'altra cosa per guadagnare sempre più soldi. Un reddito di cittadinanza l'hanno tagliato. E loro stanno dicendo proprio a rubare, perché la gente questo farà, perché loro ci stanno costringendo a fare queste cose.
In Czech Republic, thousands rallied against the pro-Western government. They condemned the government for its support of the sanctions against Russia, accusing it of not being able to tackle soaring energy prices. In Germany's Leipzig, the situation was similar. Around 3,000 demonstrators rallied in the city, protesting against high living costs, rising energy prices, and the insufficiency of the government support measures. And for more on the story, Alexander Clarkson is joining us live from London. He is a political analyst and the founder of Global Political Insight think tank. Alexander, welcome to the program. Among the issues that the new UK Prime Minister Liz Truss has said she will focus on is dealing with energy crisis caused by Putin's war. She also says she's determined to deliver going forward. Your thoughts on that?
Well, she will have a challenging time going forward. The prices in the UK for energy have risen substantially over the last year or so and are causing severe economic challenges for the people of Britain. Now, here at the moment, in terms of politics itself, the majority of the people are still supporting the UK government's plan to support Ukraine economically and militarily. And so from that regard, the UK is not seeing similar tendencies as in Italy and Czech Republic, Hungary, and perhaps Turkey as well. Nevertheless, going forward, we may see more and more voices questioning the UK's policy in regards to Ukraine. But I should add here that the UK is actually one of the few countries in Europe that does not rely on Russian gas. The prices here are still high, but that's because of the overall global prices on gas. Nevertheless, the UK gets its gas sources from elsewhere and not from Russia. And so from that point of view, the UK government will feel that they can continue with their policy on Ukraine, regardless of any challenges that may pose.
Alexander, let me ask you this. Do you think Europe is divided over Ukraine as energy crisis deepens?
Well, in this regard, I would say that Europe has always been divided when it comes to its relations with Russia. We've always seen that, for example, Baltic countries such as Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania have always been, let's say, more aggressive towards Russia, whilst countries such as Hungary, Turkey, Italy, and even France sometimes have tried to reach out to Russia. Now, when the war in Ukraine started, we saw unity between the countries of Europe, but as the economic challenges continue to exacerbate, we will see, in my view, those, let's say, dividing groups returning again, where we will see the Baltic countries plus the UK quite keen to continue their, let's say, anti-Russian policy, while countries such as Turkey, Hungary, and Italy will try and find perhaps plans for appeasement in order to return the situation to some kind of normalcy.
Lastly, Alexander, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan says that Russia is cutting natural gas flows to Europe in retaliation for sanctions, adding that Europe is reaping what it sowed. Your thoughts?
Well, in some ways, I mean, that's right. I mean, Russia has been obviously clear that they're cutting gas to Europe because of the sanctions. At the same time, I think many Europeans would argue that they had no choice, really, because it is the money that Russia receives for the gas that is essentially financing the war in Ukraine. So if Europe did not impose sanctions on Russia and did not try and wean off itself of Russian gas, there would be widespread criticism of the European Union and the UK, for example, as well, of the fact that essentially Europe continues to finance the war in Ukraine by continuing to buy the gas in Russia. So I would argue that regardless of the challenges that the European Union faces at the moment, they had no choice, and that they will feel that the decision that they have taken will be right in the long term, especially when they find other sources for gas that is not related to Russia.